All right, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome to another interview. We got a heavy student today, ladies and gentlemen. Runs aerial canvas. We got Brendan with us. Brendan, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great. It's always a pleasure to be in the same room as Jeremy. So,
Appreciate it. Yeah, here we are over Zoom like everybody else during the pandemic, huh? All right, cool. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, when I say this is a heavy student, $608K a month, definitely a very unique kind of business model. It's very rare that I hear students that get to this level in terms of their growth, in terms of their success. This is a longer term student that's been inside of the program. Very excited to put him in front of you guys. Per usual, I'm just going to ask a bunch of questions to him to give you guys some advice and insights onto what he's done in his journey to be able to reach that level. And hopefully you guys get some great stuff out of it. Brendan, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, cool. Hey, so before you even got started in business, I always like to talk about this. What were you doing?
There's 3 stages to this question, since this is officially my 3rd business after graduating college. Went to college, passed, with average grades, was looking for a job, didn't find anything that clicked. So I started my first business off of YouTube University, essentially learning how to fix phones and computers. It's a business called Fix It, spelled F-Y-X-I-T. You can Google it, probably find us. Did pretty well, scaled that to a computer and phone, small IT business that did almost $1 million in rev. And that's where I think I gained a lot of skill sets in actually growing a business and the different stages that you'll get to in terms of hiring and, training individuals. After that, I actually quit Aerial Canvas, or not Aerial Canvas, I quit Fix It. Aerial Canvas is my current business. And I started this social media marketing agency and small agency called Market You. And I actually joined someone who, my business partner, Andrew, and we built some momentum. We hit 6 figures our first year. We had some months where we hit over the 5-figure mark, and it just fizzled out. There wasn't enough momentum, too many different avenues for success, but not enough patience and grind to see things through on both my end and my business partner's end. So that didn't work out. And then finally, after that didn't work out, I had a 6-month hiatus, pretty much bummed around and partied and traveled and all of that. And my friend Colby, who's the original founder of Aerial Canvas, said, hey, I love what you've done for me so far. Back then I was consulting him, just giving him value, building his website out for free, just helping out a friend in any way possible. I knew he didn't have the means to pay me what I was worth. So he told me, come check out what I'm doing. I checked out what he was doing. I was just like, hey, with my skill sets that I've gained over the last few years, I think I can help you scale. And so I helped him scale from $10,000, $15,000 a month on his own as a freelancer or like a solo agency owner. At that time, he wasn't a full-on agency. He had like a part-time contractor.
Yeah.
And in the 2-year span, we've scaled to over $500,000 a month. So
wow,
it's pretty good.
Under 2 years?
Yep.
Incredible growth. So this agency that you joined into, it sounds like, did you buy him out, or he just gave you that opportunity to come in as like an equal partner, or how did that start?
So I'm a big believer of, give first, give just tremendous value. I feel like I learned a lot of that from you before you ask for something, and that's exactly what I did. Before I even was invited out, I had consulted him on his first big client deal. I was telling him not to take a job, but to get a contract instead. I helped build his website. I helped, create his logo and his design and just overall brand messaging. And so when he had invited me out, there was no expectations aside it being a cool trip to hang out with a friend to check out what he's working on. Yeah. And I liked what he was doing, and I thought there was something there. And so I actually said, hey, you can't afford me, first off, because for my experience in Silicon Valley, I should be worth at least 6 figures, and maybe pay me 90, I'll be happy, as long as I can pay rent out here, right?
Yep.
And instead of asking for a salary or asking to be paid, I just wanted to show him what I could produce and what I could put into the business. And at the 3-month mark, I said, hey, this is what I can do. I want to invest even more. I want to put in $50,000 just up front.
Wow.
And I I'm going to need half of the business because that's the minimum. Like
Shark
I
Tank deal.
had to be fully invested.
Yep.
And he can tell you himself it's probably the best investment he made.
Nice, incredible. So you became a 50-50 owner. Where in this journey did you find the agency owner program? Where did that come into the picture?
So are you talking about your marketing training?
Yep.
So your marketing training actually was far before Aerial Canvas even existed, probably when Aerial Canvas first had its conception before we started working on it. This was when I was working on Market U, my second business, which kind of fizzled out, but still exists. My business partner said, yo, you got to check out this course. It's run by this guy named Jeremy. He was the guy who helped Grant Cardone scale, and he's making moves. And I actually even had the opportunity to attend your first mastermind out in LA.
Nice.
It was pretty cool. We flew out there. I think that was back in 2017 or something. It was at the first year, right?
Yep, that was the first one.
Yeah, and I had the opportunity to meet you. I think I bumped into Tyler Dirt, like Owen Cook. I think that's RSD. Like it was crazy. I was like, man, dude, LA is popping.
A lot of people out there.
Yeah, and so it was pretty cool. So that's when I first stumbled across the marketing training that you've beautifully crafted. Got a lot of high level concepts from there. I wasn't too much into the weeds because I was more of an agency owner, and I had people within my organization to manage those aspects. But
so let's dive into that. I'm all about transparency. So you mentioned that you had consumed about 20% of the program in its entirety, and I don't blame you as a busy business person. There's 577 videos in that thing. There's tons of resources. You got the community. You got like live calls and stuff like that. So only going through 20% of it, like out of everything you've done in business, and to be clear, like you don't need to answer this question in a biased way just because it's you and me talking right now. I want this to be transparent for the people watching. Watching only 20% of it, how much did it actually help you to where you're at today and everything that you've accomplished in between? How much did that 20% actually contribute to you getting some results?
I would say, it's like Pareto's principle. 80% of the results come from 20% of the efforts. And, I'll read the book, The One Thing by Gary Keller. And I'm just like, all right, just got to focus on one thing. Got it.
So you watch like some videos then. That's what you're saying? Like you just found like little things out of it and you just ran with it?
So I kind of go through it, like in the beginning I went through it like once a month, and I would just handpick things I was interested in. The rest of it I consumed through osmosis because my business partner probably consumed all of it twice. Wow. He would be preaching a lot of stuff that would be in it, and all those concepts would make sense, and I knew where it came from. It was just a lot of high level stuff, cognitive biases, authority hijacking, just having if you're doing a giveaway where you're giving away something worth sharing. It's just high level concepts that always boil down over time, and into different things and different actions. If you're going to be customer service oriented, it's the same thing as a giveaway. Don't like be cheap about it. No. Give customer service. Go above and beyond. If you fuck up like an interaction or like a deal and you're not holding true to like your end as an agency owner, like you drop clients because you weren't able to fulfill. Like that's something I learned from you. It's just like, hey, I'd rather just refund them and move on to like the deals I'm actually invested in than, keeping them on the hook and saying, oh, I got $2,000 here, but I'm still not willing to put in that work, which I promised. And I don't really have the attention. So those are the things I learned from you is just like high level, like how to treat things at a macro. Yep. And I think that's the biggest thing that like everyone should start with is mindset. I think your course on mindset, it's the Level Up program, right?
Yep. That's great stuff.
Got the Super Mario theme.
I'm glad you like that. That's exactly what I was going for too. I wanted to make it feel like it was kind of like a gamified thing. I figured what better than Mario.
Yeah, and I feel like that's where I got my entrepreneur spirit is from gaming. I always wanted to be the most competitive, like the best player. And at some point, like it went from my screen, from a video game to I have this whole world I can take over and do the same thing, and I can actually feel and touch and smell and, you know.
I think that's great. Sometimes I do go back and I love the Grand Theft Auto game for that exact reason. It really, besides obviously all the crazy stuff that you can do in it, it's just really puts it in perspective, especially when you're in places like Southern California there where the most recent one's based. It's a crazy sensation,
LA, right, get a Lambo, drive around, do everything that you see and it's all within reach, if you want to hustle a little bit harder.
Yep. No, glad to hear it. Yeah. So, there's a lot of people listening to this. $608K a month, honestly, just seems like so out of reach. Like some people strive to, they'd be pumped if they made that an entire year. Like a lot of people out there just set $100,000 as the goal. They're pumped with like 10K a month. What really, from a perspective of getting there, right? What helped you to get to that point? The difference between that last agency that you mentioned that kind of fizzled out and this monster that you've created that's probably still growing at a rapid pace. Like, what are the big differences in what you actually did to get to that level?
There's a few high level concepts that kind of all build into the success. One is I have this foundational philosophy of I want to teach. If you were to join me as a business partner or a employee, I want to teach you everything you possibly need to know to do the business on your own. And I want to make the opportunity so good that you wouldn't want to leave. And I think that's allowed our business to scale because our team is constantly teaching everything they know to each individual in each department. And that way they can move on to bigger and better opportunities because now someone's taking care of those high level tasks and you can get even higher. And so that's, I would say, one of the big macro like mindsets that's helped. Another thing is just is niching down. Like I think that's like 101 in every like half decent course is like pick your focus, pick a niche. Like don't be a social media guy that does restaurants and chiropractors. And I can tell my dad, who's a gardener, and I'll run ads. I run ads. That's my specialty. I was like, yeah, you run ads, like billboard ads, what type of radio ads, like social ads, like even ads in its own, like as industry, like there's so much. And so for us, it's picking our niche and getting a product market fit, looking at what existing businesses are doing that's been successful, that, generates their revenue, and look at how you can create a better value proposition alongside, a very consistent product. When you talk about product market fit, it's about building momentum and it's like any product. You look at a Ford car, at some point those Ford cars were killing people because they weren't safe, and now you fast forward 20 years, you have Ford, building cars that are, one of the safest. And usually I go with Tesla examples because I love Tesla. It's the same thing with the Model 3 or the Model S, right? It started in one place, but it continually was refined as a product over time. And I think that's what a lot of agency owners lack is, hey, all of these concepts, they work. The Venus flytrap, the just retargeting, like basic level concepts, like follow-ups, omnipresence, like everything that you've preached in a lot of your courses, they all work. You just got to continually practice, like the Bruce Lee saying, right? I fear not the man who I don't even know the saying.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Fear not the man who's practiced one type of kick 10,000 times. I fucked it up too, matter of fact. It's like the guy who does one kick 10,000 times versus the guy who practices 10,000 kicks one time. That's what.
Exactly. It's all about, being consistent, being like the word bona fide as an entrepreneur. There's a lot of entrepreneurs that I think why they fail is because they want to be successful overnight. They think 2 months of working 80 hours every day is going to make them a six-figure earner, and not make any mistakes along the way. No, it's you have to outwork everyone else at least by 10, 20, 30% for
Yeah.
like a year, if not 5, right? Before you actually, have the track record to own an interaction. I can tell you that my negotiation skills were shit compared to where they are now. And every year I'm only getting 20% better. And, I went from 50 percentile to 70 percentile to 90. And I think I'm now in the 95th percentile. I mean, I took training from Grant Cardone's guys, and I'm like, I don't got too much to learn yet. Now I feel like I need to look for a new master. Maybe I need to hire Dan Locke or something.
Yeah, and the big difference here. Okay, so good question. I'm so interested in this. From your viewpoint. So 608K a month. Does that feel like a lot of money to you right now?
608 to be precise. It's a lot. We're definitely moving paper. Like every time I run payroll, it's well over 6 figures, for a 2-week period. And my SaaS bill, like just for software, is like 20,000 a month.
Wow.
And yeah, it's a lot. I mean, my photo editing bill was like 25,000, I believe, last month.
Yep.
Though we're looking to build that in-house and get that cost down a little.
Right.
It's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of people to be responsible for. There's a significant amount of overhead that we've locked in. I think a base level overhead is probably close to $250,000 now.
Nice.
And then there's variable overhead as well.
Nice.
We just got an office in San Diego. We have this, I don't know if you can see, but we have this beautiful new construction out in San Carlos that we spent over 10K at a month. And that's not including even water and electric.
Yep.
So to answer your question, Jeremy, it's a lot, and it's a lot to handle, but it's no different from, running a business when you're smaller at 10K. You have to practice, good financial decision-making constantly. You can get a little bit loose right now, right? Like, in the past, a $200 subscription is now what I need to consider a $2,000 subscription, because I have to get the subscription for 10 more people. But fundamentally, I'm still analyzing it in the same way. I'm saying, hey, if I were to get this tool, or if I were to buy this piece of equipment, how much marginal difference will it make in my workflow or my productivity? And if this $30 per month investment can increase my productivity by, let's just say, like 3 hours a month, it's a good investment, because if I'm paying my average employee $30 an hour, I just got a 1 to 3 return on investment. And that's how I think about like money and time. Everyone gets to a point where, they're trading. Everyone starts at trading time for money, right? Until you have your money start working for you and you've created assets. And so it's the same thing with, if you want to scale as an agency owner, you got to start not thinking about so much the time for money, but time for opportunity cost. Time, like money for opportunity cost. Like, start making those trades where you get a 50% return, because that's where it starts compounding. And it's going to cost you a lot in the beginning, especially when you hire your first employee. Like, you're probably going to end up paying half of what you make to your first employee, and you guarantee that they're getting paid when you might be sleeping on the streets if you have a bad month, right? So that I think is the biggest thing, is to start considering opportunity cost when you scale bigger, and looking at it like math. It's simple math. It's just 10x or 100x, right? Where you were a year ago. And as long as you practice the same discipline and how you look at those numbers, and you start thinking about opportunity cost rather than your time. If you want your time to be $100 worth $100 an hour, if you want to be making $1 million a year, that means your time based off a 40-hour work week is $500 an hour. You best not be scrubbing the dishes or doing your own laundry or doing stuff that's a $50 an hour task or a $200 an hour task. Start valuing your time directly proportionally to what you think it's worth. And don't be ridiculous about it. Don't think your time's worth 500 when clearly it's worth like 50.
Yep.
Like until you built that momentum, you can't just jump into $500 an hour like this. I'm not doing my laundry. I'm not doing anything except something that's worth 500 when no one's paying you 500. It's about finding someone that's willing to pay you. That's that income.
Yep. And all the existing agency owners listen to that. I'm sure they'll resonate with what you just mentioned, and they'll definitely be able to pull some solid lessons out of that. What about the person who's just getting started? You know, you've now had, sounds like two different marketing agencies. One of them got to 6 figures in a year. You know, one of them's doing mid-range 6 figures in a month. What is it that you'd want to pass down to the person who's just getting started? Like, what's important for that person to know?
If you just got started, like, chances are you're looking to switch it up. You're looking for a different way to make money. And chances are, unless you're lazy and bumming around at your parents, you're working a full-time job and you're doing this on top.
True.
You have to, treat anything that you want as more than a full-time job. It needs to be something that, you hear it all the time, you're passionate about. And you need to understand your why. Like I'm sure you've heard of Simon Sinek, know your why before you get there. Like, understand why you're putting in this extra work and what you want out of it. Whether that's, you want to be, I think, who was it? It's Ty Lopez that has those 4 motivations, right? It's like,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Health, wealth, love, and happiness. Yeah.
I think more so motivations, understanding people's motivations, and your own motivations, whether that's money, that's, sex is one of them. It's status. I think those are 3 main ones. I think I'm missing one more.
Big drive.
Those 3, like, understanding what's motivating you is definitely going to help paint the path for why you need to do what you need to do to get there. Understanding.
You're saying people need to create reasons in order for them to really commit to getting started, is what you're trying to say?
People need to understand their why. Like, why are you working towards this? Is it to get a badass wife and family? Is it to be the most well-respected person in the room because you have a successful business? Or is it just so you can have this financial independence and travel? And having that clear in mind is going to allow you to stay motivated, because chances are the things that you're working on aren't things you're super passionate about. But what you can be passionate about is the end goal and what you're doing to get you there. Like, most people, they might work a mediocre job, but they come to the work with a smile, and they come to the work with a great attitude, because they're like, this is what pays for my family to have a life. And I'm fucking stoked about that. And, that's understanding your why and why you show up to work. Doesn't matter what the work, understanding why you work, what you're working for is super important. And then a little bit, a step back, that's kind of high level, a more practical piece of advice is stay focused, stop trying to do stop trying to be the jack of all trades. Like, as an agency owner, the expectations of you is not to be able to do every single thing. You probably have to do a little bit of your own accounting because you can't afford an accountant. You're probably going to have to come up with your own logo by hiring someone for $100 on Fiverr, and you can't hire an agency to design a $1,500 logo.
Yeah.
But stay focused on what you're working on, and more importantly, what problem you're solving and what value you're creating for clients that you're charging for. And value can be created in so many ways. You don't have to know how to do digital marketing and funnels and ads and retargeting.
Very true.
To make money as an agency owner. You can, it's about being resourceful and knowing where to get the best fucking deal. Because if I can get, marijuana for $5 a gram, and I can sell it somewhere for 40, Like that's the value I'm creating. It's the same thing with with the digital skills. Like if you can find and source the people that are producing at a super high caliber for a fraction of the cost, they just don't know how to sell. Find those people and sell for them if you believe that selling is your biggest value add, and start making money on your value add. Because my value add to Aerial Canvas is I can do everything. I can shoot the photos. I can fly the drone. I can do the 3D Matterport. I can send emails and do customer service. But over time, what is my biggest value add? It's selling high level clients that are going to pour, lots of resources in, cash mainly, and being able to take that cash and find the best talent. That's what an agency is. Pretty much you're like reselling talent, right? To a degree. And you're upholding a brand. And I'm there to motivate my team, for them to stay consistent, for them to stay committed, and to consistently execute. That is what that's the most valuable, because, I'm there to help my team see the bigger picture. Like they might have an interaction with a client where the client's just like, man, you did this wrong. And my team's like, no, we actually did it right. And I'm like, quit fucking arguing with the client and just like get them what they're looking for, because that's what they're after. They don't care about like you being right or wrong does not help us, and the client being right or wrong does not help them. They want something out of this, and get them what they want, because the lifetime value of getting someone what they want and selling someone what you said you'll sell, like deliver, that's the most important thing. That's building your brand. I mean, you look at the most successful companies in the world, it's because of their brand. Nike, Apple, Facebook, Microsoft, you name it, like Fifth, Saks, Ave, I don't even know. There's so many like high level brands, and that's because they own that reputation. So protect that. At like, that's what you have. Like if you fuck people over in this Facebook group, in this mastermind, or whatever group that you're involved, and you try to make money at their expense, that's when you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. Like if you have a bad reputation in a group with 600 people, now you've outcasted yourself to 600 people and their entire network. So do what you say you're going to do, follow through. It's all about the follow through. Like good things take time, but like that's the most practical advice, is create value and stay focused. And don't try to do everything. Be resourceful. Find people that can do stuff better than you, and take that. Like merely connecting a web developer who's going to charge $30 an hour and a client, if you're the agency, you can charge whatever you want to charge the client without having to like be like, oh yeah, I'm paying my web developer $30 and I'm going to charge you. Like without saying it, it's already implied if you work with an agency, right? That the reason why you work with an agency is you get consistency, you get pre-qualified vendors or a team, and that's what running an agency is. Like one person doing everything an agency does not make, right? So hopefully that's practical advice. I know I was all over the place.
No, that was good. That was great stuff for sure. I'm sure everybody just getting started is definitely going to be able to pull some nuggets out of that. And that's awesome. One question I'll always like to ask to people like yourself who've been at it for a few years, and now that you've had all this experience, if you could go back to the very beginning, okay, before you even committed to a marketing agency, I'm sure you're well aware of all the different paths that you could have taken. There's e-commerce. You could sell on Amazon. You could do the drop shipping thing. You could start a marketing agency, obviously, like you did. You could do pretty much anything you wanted to in business. Would you go back? Would you still commit to a marketing agency, or would you have chosen something different now that you're aware of all this different stuff?
Marketing is the way to go. Like I think marketing goes in hand with sales. Like if you want to be a good marketer, you have to be a good salesman. Like if you're a marketer, it's like you're just one to many. You still have to do the copywriting, the brand positioning, the value proposition, and all of that. Yeah. And so I wouldn't have changed anything about like my path, knowing what I know now, except one advice I would give to my former self is to get better at sales earlier on in my life, and get better at marketing. I feel like I'm pretty strong in sales. I feel like I got a lot to learn on the marketing end still. Though, we are a marketing agency, but we barely capitalize the opportunity on like the digital front in terms of ads and funnels. Like, I think we're just scratching the surface.
Should go through another 20% of the program, man.
If I go to 40, I'd be balling out of control.
Who knows what could happen? No, that's great to hear. And would you say an agency is a get rich quick thing, or does this take like a pretty significant amount of time and work?
If you want to be successful, it can't be on the quick get rich quick mentality. It just can't. Nothing. Like, unless you are like a genius scientist who's coming up with a patent and you can get that done in a year, and you can license it out to biopharmaceutical companies for like millions of dollars.
Yeah.
There's no get rich quick. Unless you scratch the lottery, like there's no get rich quick. Like,
very true.
I think I've heard it a lot from like the social media networks. Like, stop being like bedazzled by the Lamborghinis and the money and the girls. Look at what they're actually doing to get your attention, and try to do that for the clients that you're trying to serve. Like, it's all about attention, right? How do you trade that attention? And like, don't do anything that's not sustainable. Like renting a Lamborghini just to try to be flashy, and knowing that you're probably at your last dollar, and when it comes to your credit card limit, it's not a good move unless
totally worthless.
Unless you're renting the Lamborghini to close a deal of a lifetime, like you're about to meet Jeff Bezos and he's going to give you an internship. Don't do anything that's not sustainable, but also be willing to make like big moves. Don't. Like, fortune favors the bold. Like, if you have momentum, and if a lot of people want to supplement their entire income before they like hop onto their business venture, right? They want to be safe. You'll have 80 hours to work in a week. If you want to do 40 and 40, that's great. But just know that that 40 that you're putting into your own business could potentially be 60 or 80, and your timeline is just getting pushed out. So if you build any momentum, that's probably the best thing that you can have for your business. Once you start building momentum, you should start funneling more time into that momentum and more effort and energy, and then doubling down on momentum.
Makes a lot of sense.
I think that's the biggest part of our success is we continually invest into our momentum. There is no possible way that we could be at $600,000 a month without constantly reinvesting into our business and not taking anything out of it, except knowing that the business is becoming more valuable. So, we have close to 50 employees now,
Nice.
On average, they're making like 65,000.
Nice.
We can't be at 600,000 without having that overhead, because at the end of the day, like, as digital as we are as an agency, we're still a service-based business, right?
That's true.
You look at VaynerMedia and all these companies, it's still a service-based business. We're not creating software. So
very true.
Continually invest in your team and continually invest in yourself. And when you see a little bit of momentum, double down. When you close that first client, kill it for them and use that to build momentum. Hey, you're a car dealer. You must know at least 3 other car dealer owners in like in the state. Maybe we don't have to have them compete with you in the same county or city, but in the state, you must like have gone to one automotive like conference or something like that, and you must know a few like guys that also own dealerships or automotive shops. Build momentum. Once you get that first success story, double down on that. And that's my advice. Hopefully that's been pretty practical.
Last thing here, I really appreciate your time. Obviously you're making a ton of money, so I know your time's worth a good amount. Thank you from me, and thank you from everybody who's watching this through me to you. Last piece of advice, and I like to just go big on this one. What is like just the best, most impactful piece of advice that you want to hand down to somebody that you really hold as like a cherished piece of advice that really gets you a lot of results in life? What would you pass down to people right now?
It's funny because the guy who gave me this advice is actually in jail.
Here we go.
So, the piece of advice is it's pretty straightforward. If you're not willing to put in the work, you don't deserve it. Simple as that. Like
Good
if
saying.
you're not willing to put in the work, you don't deserve any of it. Like
No.
there's no get rich quick, dude. If there might be a few people that are anomalies because they know a celebrity who referred them, and like they also knew Jeremy Haynes who was able to execute for them. And they just made the two connections and took a cut. You know, that's a get rich quick scheme, right? You know, bump into the celebrity, introduce them to Jeremy Haynes, take a cut. That's as fast as
We do good kickbacks.
that's as fast as a get rich quick scheme as I know. But you know, practically, you know, get good at sales. Anything that you're going to be doing is going to be around sales if you want to be an owner. You know, negotiating pay for your employees, negotiating deals for clients, negotiating deals with vendors. You know, if you're able to squeeze 10% in a positive way and get 10% more because you're able to convey the value of every deal, you're starting to create a gap where you have more profits, and you can choose now to reinvest those profits in getting more people on your team that you're training to do the same thing. So
Nice.
like, you know, simply put, you know, if you're going to run an agency, make sure you run an agency where you got the best ninjas, you know, get them the sharpest swords, and get them the, you know, like, and it starts with you. Like, if you want to be a good agency owner, you have to be a great salesman to recruit top talent into your organization.
Yep.
And I keep saying this thing called sales. It's not sales. Like, take away the word sales. It's being consultative, understanding how to make deals, understanding how to create value, and then selling on that value is what a salesperson is. Understanding how to create win-win opportunities where I can teach you everything you possibly need to know to do the business on your own, but I make it so good that you wouldn't want to leave. And that's a win-win, right? That's salesmanship. You know, I'm selling you and I'm giving you so much value up front, just like the marketing courses.
Yep.
And I'm making the opportunity so good on why like if you had another $1,000 to spend, why would you spend it anywhere else than with Mr. Jeremy Haynes, right?
No, this is great. That was awesome advice. I'm sure once again, like the people who already have agencies are going to get a lot out of this. People just getting started are going to get a lot out of this. Remember, everybody watching this right now, $608K a month, tons of great lessons here. Make sure you guys actually do something with it and take action, just like Brendan has with all the stuff that he's managed to learn throughout the years. This is incredible. We really appreciate this. Such a great interview. I'm pumped to see you hit 1 million a month. I'll come celebrate with you out there in Southern California. And
hey, yeah, I'm in San Diego now. Are you still out in LA? And
no, I put all the headquarters back in Miami. I got out of there for the California tax hike that they did in 2017. That was the last year where you could deduct your state taxes from what you were going to pay on a federal level. So I got out of there at the end of 2017, because then from 2018 onward, you could no longer deduct more than 10K from whatever you're to pay in state tax against your federal taxes. So I would have literally paid, I don't know the exact amount. I'm going to make up a number. I would have paid a fuckload more if I would have stayed in California.
I definitely like Miami a lot. So, you know, if you're out in Southern California, we have a new office down in San Diego. Feel free to visit.
Stop by.
Downtown next to Little Italy. And cool. Then if you're out in San Francisco trying to close out on a Apple or Google, then let me know.
Nice. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, once again, thank you for this interview. This is incredible. Looking forward to chatting with you soon.